Hello everybody. This video here, hopefully I'll make it as brief as possible, will be describing the structure of the syllabus and highlighting some of the sections. So hopefully we can make it as short as possible. As you can see, this is Accounting 1A. It has 5 units assigned to it, which means 5 hours of normally about reading. In the case of face-to-face classes, that means 5 hours of lecture plus 10 hours of homework. So a total of about 15 hours per week, and that's the way this class is designed. So keep that in mind as you do this work. There are 2 sections for the syllabus, section 5W or CRN 40027 and section 4W CRN 40026 are the 2 sections for this class. And the reason I bring this up is because you will need to know what your section is when you look at your gradebook that I'll be providing for you around week 3. This syllabus, as all of my syllabus are, they are organized by sections SY1, syllabus 1, SY1 through section SY10. So as you can see here, the different sections, I'll be focusing on a few of these very quickly, but I'm sure that you want to be, or when you want to take more time looking into the grading section, the textbook section, and possibly and definitely the calendar section. And so those are the places you want to really understand clearly. Just very briefly, in terms of my contact information in section 1, here's my address, here's my office, here's my phone number. I don't use phone that much, so use email rather than my voicemail. And also, if you were in my class, that means that you should be using etudes, private messages, to keep track of our conversations. Email is the worst thing to use actually, because it's tough to keep track of all the tons of emails that I get every day. So please use private messages in your etudes course shell unless you cannot log in. Here's the information on the class itself, the course description. Notice that there's no requirements for the class, but we do expect that you have some foundation in math and also good college English. Let's see, here's a little more about the what I call learning outcomes. The textbook, very important. Holmgren 11th edition, that's the edition of the book. The book comes bundled with my accounting lab, or MAL. It will come with an access code, 16 digits. And together, the book, 11th edition, and the access code make what they call the custom edition. And that is the 3rd custom edition. So don't get too confused. I know that the bookstore sometimes has 3rd edition, and you get confused with the 11th edition of the actual book. So just wanted to mention that. To register into the correct MAL section, which is our homework and testing tool that you will be using for this online class, you will need to have both the access code, again that comes with your book, and this course ID for this class specifically. So both of those together will be able to actually get you into the right MAL section. Now let me show you very quickly. You go into this link, and then you go into register. If you haven't done it already in the past, then you go OK, register, and this is where you put in your course ID that is in the syllabus. And if you go through the process here, there'll be some prompts. You should be able to then, at some point enter your access code that you bought with the book, and then you'll be in the correct class. To buy that access, you'll be needing the book and again MAL, and you have 3 sort of options. Obviously, the best option will be this one, the first one. Just buy it from the bookstore. It's a great price, because once you buy the book and the access code, that helps you with not only 1A but also 1B and 1C. So really, it's a book and a package that covers all 3 classes. It's 1 year. You can use it for a full year from the first use. So keep that in mind. Don't lose the access code. And so keep that in mind that you will need MAL, regardless of how you actually, whatever option you end up buying. If you don't have money at the moment to buy the access or the book, there's a 14-day temporary access option, which you can also access to the same process that I just showed you up here. You can go and do the same thing, use the same course ID without your access code, and you should be able to use the tool for 14 days for free. But you have to obviously upgrade at some point with the purchase of the actual access code. Keep going down. You see some other information that you can read on your own. Here's the course outline, which, this one I'm just going to mention that we're covering 9 chapters, chapters 1 through 9, in sequence for the most part. So keep that in mind. Read these notes; they're important on your own. The graded components in section 6 shows you what you're graded on, and so we'll discuss this in a second, very, very briefly. But the scale for grading, as always, 93 and above is an A. 90 to 92.99 is an A minus, and so on. And I strictly enforce that. So if you want to maximize your grading, take advantage of the points that you'll be earning. Here, these are the graded points for each section, for each type of deliverable. Here are the class activities, attendance, and participation deliverables. And when I say deliverables, I mean things that you submit for a grade somehow. So that's what a deliverable means to me. Attendance, it's basically logging in 3 times a week, once on Monday. And so that will give you 3 times 12, 36 logins. That will give you the 5 points. Participation is 1 posting per chapter per week. And, these are both further detailed below in a section that gives you more info on each of these items. These are 10 points out of 100, so 10% of the grade is based on this. You have a couple of other activities, CA3 and CA4, that come later. These are 1 point, very simple stuff, and so that makes up 12% in total. The class also includes 9 little quizzes. I call them reading checks in MAL, and they're 1 point each, and so 8 count out of the 9. You can drop the lowest grade automatically. The lowest grade from the reading checks will be dropped, so only 8 count times 1 point. So the reading checks make up 8% of your total grade. Homework, there will be 8 homeworks, 1 per chapter. There's 1 chapter that doesn't have a homework, so only 6 count towards your grade. You can drop the lowest 2, so 6 count. 6 times 5, that would be 30% of your grade. There are 2 midterm exams, as you can see here. Each is 15 points. So your midterms make up 30% of the grade as well. Final exam is a comprehensive exam at the end, chapters 1 through 9. That's 20% of the grade, and that's all. That's what makes up 100% of the total grade. There will be a 5% extra credit team project, and that's detailed below, and also later in the quarter, I will give you more info on this. Here are some notes regarding, what is teamwork, notes on the class calendar, the grade book, point system, and so on. Make sure you read all the notes. They are quite important. Here's what I told you about in terms of the detailed descriptions of the graded components. You can go and do that on your own. Below, show you how I structure the class calendar. They are done, or this is done by week. So here's before the quarter, here's week 1, week 2, and week 3. So if you notice how I structure this, let's just go to week 2. So you can see that week 2 begins on Monday, April 11th, and ends on Sunday, April 17th. This specific week, Friday is a drop deadline. So if you drop the class before the 15th, in this case, you don't get even a W. You don't get a record on your transcript at all. If you drop it by week 8, you still can drop it by week 8, and you get a W. If you do not drop it by week 8, that means that you would earn a grade. Whatever grade you earn, that's what you get. So make sure you actually keep those things in mind. Going back to week 2, each most of the chapters will have a reading check, RC, and then you normally do on Wednesdays, not always. So look at the calendar for each week, and they give you what it's based on. It is based on your reading of certain pages, normally the whole chapter. And then there's also a related homework. So homework 2, that's why I label it in Mal. And they list out the actual problems that are the basis for that homework. And again, that's also in Mal. And normally they're due on Sundays. And the same thing applies to most weeks. Notice that also in week 5 we have the midterm exam, and that normally runs from Friday through Sunday in terms of being accessible. Once you get in one try, you will see that actually you got a deadline, or you have a test taking window of about 2 hours normally, and it's a deadline of Sundays. Same thing applies for the most part for midterm number 2, and there's also a final exam. This one has to be done in the same day, so it's accessible on that single day, and then so also about an hour. I'm sorry, about 2 hours. And then finally, make sure that you know that the week runs, the official week for our class runs from Monday through Friday at noon. And so if you don't submit any questions before Friday at noon, then they don't get answered until probably the next Monday. And by then it will be too late, because as you know, the deadlines normally are on Sundays. So make sure you time your questions within the week, and work accordingly to that plan. And there are other things here that you might want to read into including this section here on class policies. Make sure you read this as well. I hope this was useful. Take care.